Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's YouTube Live. And I don't know what I literally was about to say about 10 million things then, Rachel, and it literally went out of my head. My name is Michelle.
And I'm Rachel.
And welcome.
Part of Keeping Up the Windsors. So thank you so much for joining us here today if you're watching live or if you're watching the replay. Shell, I'm wearing a jumper. It's July. What's going on?
Okay, for anyone who's not watching from the United Kingdom, the weather's all over the place. We don't know what's happening. I went to work the other day with a sun hat and sunglasses, and then I put my winter quilt on my bed yesterday. Like, what is happening? And I know there's been a lot of media around like we can't handle the heat. Our houses are built very differently. The heat is very different here. There's a humidity level that's off the charts. And now it seems like we're just overcast. It's July. We've had 3 days of sun, and that's it. That's the summer, Rach. That's it. We've done it. We're over.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I went to a concert last week. You went to Alton Towers.
I did. And in Alton Towers, they've got Gangster Granny, which is based on the book by David Walliams. And it's about a grandchild and the nan stealing the crown jewels. It's so fun. It's such a kiddie ride, but it was so great to just get on it and have some fun, you know? What was the concert like?
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't I paid for, so I can't complain too much. But
yeah, well, I'm actually potentially going to a 90s festival thing on Friday, so I'll let you know. Apparently Peter Andre's there, right? Peter Andre. And he's 17. Bring it on. If you don't know who these bands are, I wouldn't suggest googling them. No, you can if you want. They've got some good songs. I'm sure everyone knows Peter Andre, right? Mysterious Girl.
Maybe not American viewers, Shell. I think it's very
Did he not break America?
I think he did. I don't think he did.
Right. Well, let's talk royals this week. We haven't had like a massive big bit of news. So we've had little bits here and there. So what we do is when we have big bits of news, we call that the royal news. When we have little bits, we call it the royal roundup, and we just round up everything that we know, and then we just let you know. So we've got a lot to talk about in the roundup, but then we actually thought, Rach, that afterwards, like if we have any questions, we'll ask them afterwards. So if you're watching on the replay, if you're watching live, put your comments in the comment box and let's get interactive. Shall we start with the royal roundup?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, I'm going to start then because it's the Royal Hobnob. If anyone hasn't listened to our podcast, we call Princess Anne the Princess Royal. We call her the Royal Hobnob because she's the hardiest biscuit in the biscuit tin, isn't she, Rach? You can dunk her again and again, and she keeps going. So I absolutely love Princess Anne. She is my favorite royal. But we were talking last week about her being in hospital, but after 4 days of observation, Princess Anne left hospital this week and is recovering at home. Now, she was supposed to attend a memorial ceremony in Canada marking the centenary of the Newfoundland National War Memorial. And actually, she released a statement this week because she was really sorry that she couldn't be there. You know, this is a big deal for Anne to be missing things. And she said in her statement, "It is with deep regret that I am unable to be with you today as you commemorate the brave efforts and sacrifices of the members of the Newfoundland Regiment who went into battle on the first day of the Somme. I have fond memories of joining you in 2016 on the 99th occasion that the people of this island commemorate the Battle of Beaumont Hamel, and I'm deeply saddened that I'm unable to join you again, and I send you my warmest, best wishes on this special day of commemoration." So we've got our fingers crossed that this possibly could be rescheduled in her diary. It might not be this year, could possibly be next year. You never know. But that's a big deal, like I said, Rach, wasn't it, for her to miss to miss the Canadian part of her trip.
Yeah, and as she says, Shell, it's not like Anne to miss anything. So when she does, you're really surprised by it because thankfully, that she's at home resting now, as she should be. But I think a lot of people do forget, Shell, she is a lady in her 70s. She's not a spring chicken anymore.
I know. To be honest, she's so active, isn't she? So you would assume that. But you're right. And I think it's moments like this that we realize actually she's hardly ever ill. She's hardly ever taken time off. So, yeah, it's kind of a bit jarring when this happens, especially because we know Catherine's not doing royal duties because of illness. The king's been ill as well. So, yeah, it's just such a sad time for the royals this year, hasn't it?
It really has. It really has. Let's move on. We've had some sightings of Beatrice and Edo this week, haven't we?
We have. Honestly, I just love seeing them happy, enjoying their lives. They were at Hyde Park British Summertime concert seeing Kings of Leon, and they also went to Glastonbury. Have you seen any Glastonbury on telly, Rach?
No, there wasn't much on, to be fair, that I really wanted to see. So.
Well, I thought the streets were really good. I watched Shania. I watched a bit of Cyndi Lauper and Avril Lavigne, and I watched a little bit of Coldplay. So, but at home, I didn't go. No wellies for me or camping. But apparently they were eating burgers, Rach, as well. I mean, that is the most royal of cuisine, right?
Right. And also Beatrice at her art gallery this week. She was there supporting one of her friends. So it's always nice to see Beatrice out and about. And if you're new to us, if you haven't followed us before, if you follow us on our Instagram, Keeping Up the Windsors, just to let you know that sometimes if we post about Beatrice, if we post about Eugenie, it's normally public engagements that they've been to or things that they have been photographed at. We never post, and that goes for any royal, we never post paparazzi pictures. That's just something that we've always said from the start that we never ever want to do. So hopefully you respect our decision when we don't post things like that, but we do see it, and it was lovely to see Beatrice and Edo this week. Like you said, just looking so happy, and I've got to admit, they do look quite in love, don't they?
Oh, they do. Oh, I just love this. I just love seeing with the hair down, just having a really good time, enjoying life. Exactly like we saw I said the Cambridges, the Waleses, right? Oh gosh, wash my mouth out with soap. The Waleses, last week at Taylor Swift, the Eras tour. So again, I just love seeing them off duty and having a good time because their role is so stressful and it's a big responsibility. So it's nice for them to let their hair down and enjoy themselves. Did you know, Rach, Buckingham Palace is opening July the 11th to September the 29th. So if you are visiting the UK within those times, get booking your tickets because you'll have a lovely day out visiting Buckingham Palace. We've got quite a few vlogs on the channel of us visiting Buckingham Palace as well, haven't we, Rach?
Yeah, although we didn't get tickets for the East Wing, which is opening for the first time, which I'm a bit gutted about because I would love to see it because it's the room that the royals use just before they go onto the balcony. So it'd be lovely to see that. But hopefully in the near future, the King will be opening more and more rooms. As if you've listened to us before, you'll know how many times we've spoken about the resurfacing of Buckingham Palace and how much they're spending on it. And we just hope that over time, more and more rooms are opened. Because like Shell said, we have been a few times. And once you've been there, you've kind of been there. You've seen all of the rooms. They're all the same rooms. Nothing really changes unless there's a special exhibition that we want to go and see. So we haven't got tickets to go this year because it's only open during the summer. But hopefully next year we will be going if more rooms are open.
Yeah, and comment down below, have you been to Buckingham Palace or are planning to go? And let us know what you think if you have been as well. Yeah, I like exactly like you just said, Rach. It's always the same. It's great. It's amazing to be there and to be in the actual rooms is very historical. But we've probably been 5 or 6 times now, right? Maybe even more than that. So I'm glad that they are opening up some of these extra bits, especially as we now know that King Charles has opened Balmoral Castle for a certain amount of time for royal fans. But also, if you have a look on the royal family actual YouTube channel, they had a resurfacing of Buckingham Palace video. So if you want to know more about what they're doing at Buckingham Palace to resurface it, then have a look over on their YouTube channel, because it's really interesting, and it kind of shows you where they're putting all the money, because it is a very old building as well. So it's going to absorb some costs as we go along. But I wanted to move on, Rach, because we had some carriage driving this week. The Duchess of Edinburgh and Lady Louise were seen carriage driving. So Lady Louise competed in the 3-day Sandringham horse driving trials. Now, these trials were started by Prince Philip in 1982. And as we know, Rach, Prince Philip was the person who got Lady Louise into carriage driving. She's now driving his carriage. I did have a little tear in my eye during Prince Philip's funeral when we saw the carriage. We saw the little box of mints that was on the seat. Like, just, yeah, I just can't. But it was just amazing to see Lady Louise out there. I feel like she came second. Don't quote me on that. Royal community in the comments, can you just confirm, did she come second? I'm sure she did. So obviously, this is a big passion of hers. We know she's in the University of Edinburgh at the moment, Rach?
No, St Andrews. She went to
St Andrews. Yes, she went to St Andrews. Yeah, literally, I was like, is she going to the same university as William and Catherine? Yes, she is. So she obviously came down to Sandringham to take part in this, which was amazing. But not just that, right? We saw the Duchess of Edinburgh. And there was this drinking game that you play when you're on a carriage. So what you do is you have to drive the carriage with the horses. You're going, doing your business. You got to pick up a glass. I think it was wine. I want to say maybe it was a Dubonnet. You know, the good old Queen Elizabeth's tipple. I don't know. It could have been water. Who knows? And you have to drink the glass of wine or whatever it was from the time you pick it up to the next post. And then you have to get the empty glass and then actually leave the empty glass on the second post. She missed the second post. And I'm not kidding. The pictures of Lady Louise and you've got the Duke of Edinburgh in the background just laughing so much. I thought she looked ravishing in this blue velvet number and this box hat. I just thought it was like, I just loved it. It just looked very 19th century, actually. And I tell you the one thing I noticed the most. I've never seen a royal, maybe I have, but this stood out to me. I've never seen the Duke of Edinburgh with his own mobile phone before. And he was videoing Sophie. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a royal with a mobile phone. It's like, you never see a royal eating. Well, you do, but you know what I mean? Like, very rarely. But also you never see them on the phone. So I just found this hilarious. There's Edward in the background on his phone. There's Sophie drinking some wine. There's Lady Louise having a time of her life. This was such a joyous occasion, and I thought this was a wonderful. It's not an engagement; it was more of a hobby for them, wasn't it? But it was a nice little segue out of their royal duties.
Yeah, I love seeing them in this environment. But Royal community, just to let you know, this is not something that the everyday person does at the weekend here in the UK. Carriage driving is very aristocratic. It's something you do if you have money. It's not something that Shell and I like, let's go down to our local field and get on our carriage.
I was just trying to think, what did I do on the weekend? Oh my gosh. Well, last weekend I went to puppy yoga and I went to Borough Market and had some food with my husband. Sunday I just chilled out. Last weekend, I feel like I did something big last. Oh no, I did. I obviously went to Alton Towers, the theme park, and then I relaxed. But I'm going to do you see what I mean? Like, it's just festivals, it's just chilling out. There's no carriage driving, there's no shooting in the countryside, there's no, like, that's not our lives. We're going to the cinema, like, we're just doing normal people things.
Oh, brilliant. Shell, let's move on. It has to be my favourite engagement of the week, and I think a lot of the royal community agree with me. Queen Camilla hosted a garden party for fundraisers Layla O'Donovan and Tony Hudgell after they were forced to miss the original garden party due to ill health and traffic. Queen Camilla surprised the two of them with a day out featuring afternoon tea, a private performance from their very own military band, plus a horse ride in one of the royal carriages. Now, Tony's family shared his disappointment over on Twitter, X, whatever you call it. We always say Twitter. And on that, they shared his disappointment, and the royal family account actually came back to them and said, "Sorry to hear this, Tony. We were looking forward to seeing you too. Fancy trying again another day? Leave it with us." And so this obviously happened. I just want to tell you, royal community, a little bit about Tony. He co-founded the Tony Hudgell Foundation and was the youngest recipient ever of a New Year honour in December, when he was awarded the British Empire Medal for services to the prevention of child abuse. Now, Tony, who was 9 years old, had both legs amputated when he was a baby due to injuries he sustained from his abusive birth parents, and they were actually jailed for 10 years back in 2018. He was later adopted, and he has since raised with his adoptive parents almost £2 million for the Evelina Children's Hospital through a series of grueling physical challenges, despite undergoing continuing treatment himself. I mean, Shell, what a brave young boy, right?
Well, I cried, didn't I, Rach? I cried. I mean, how sweet. And I will say this, I'm sure this I'm just trying to remember now. I'm sure Tony, just looked at my notes, I'm sure Tony met Catherine at the concert, right? The Carol concert. I'm sure he was there in 2023, if I remember right. We'll have a look in our archives, royal community. I'll pop it in the comments. Such an inspirational little boy. I'm absolutely horrified by his injuries. I can't believe anybody could do that to a baby. Oh my god, like, it's horrific. But what a way to change the narrative of your life. And his adoptive parents sound wonderful. And how amazing it is. Good on you, Tony, honestly. And I'm so happy that he's the youngest person, like you said, Rach, at BEM at his age is remarkable. So well done.
And then we had Lila, who is 11. She has also raised funds for seriously ill children whilst living with a rare brain tumour herself, and was awarded the Inspirational Service Child of the Year. And actually, her father, Corporal Paul O'Donovan, serves with the 6th Rifles, of which Queen Camilla is Colonel-in-Chief.
Oh, so actually this is an extra special thing for Colonel Paul, because that is his Colonel-in-Chief. So it's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, Corporal Paul.
Sorry, Corporal.
Lila said, "Everyone made us feel so comfortable and made me feel super special. So thank you for this." And then her dad actually said that because she's been so ill recently, it was such a nice treat, because they just never know what's going to happen day to day with Lila's health. So it was just really nice that they were treated to this. And actually, I imagine that they had a better experience because it was just Lila and Tony, right?
Yeah. Not just that, right? Did you see those biscuits? They were like proper ice. They just look so... I just wanted to jump into the screen and just eat one. The carriage ride looks so special as well. I think you're right. I think they had an extra special day. So in a way, maybe it was not a good thing, because it would have been nice if they went to the garden party, but at least this was a way to have that experience. So yeah, I loved this engagement. I loved it. And it's something very unexpected. Wasn't expecting it. So that's even better, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Should we move on to Scotland Week?
Yeah, let's do it. So what is Scotland Week then, Rach? What happens?
So the royals tend to go to Scotland. It's called Royal Week, also known as Scotland Week. This year it has been cut short because we in the UK have a general election on Thursday, so they would usually go Tuesday to Friday. But I know that the King and Queen Camilla are returning to London to be there on Thursday, because if and when we get a new Prime Minister, it is tradition that a government is formed in His Majesty's name. So just traditionally, the king has to be there. It's one of his constitutional duties that he has to fulfill. So we'll be chatting about that probably in next week's episode. We have the ceremony of the keys, and we also have a garden party, and this is to recognise people within communities that have helped other people, charity workers, just the everyday person gets recognised, and we see the royals attend this. And we also had the Order of the Thistle this year.
Yeah, we did. So these are I'm sure there might be a few other things we may potentially be missing out on whilst we're talking about this live, but anything we miss, we'll talk about next, in next week's live. The ceremony of the keys is quite an interesting one, isn't it, Rach? Because it's, you've got the salute that goes off, all the military are there, and the Lord Provost, am I saying that right? Provost? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, so my apologies if I'm not. But the Lord Provost is there, and he gave the key to the king on this velvet red cushion. It's very, very royal. And then he says the words, "We, the Lord Provost, and the members of the City of Edinburgh Council welcome your Majesty to the capital city of your ancient and hereditary kingdom of Scotland, and offer," I'm doing this now, I don't know why I'm doing, like, that's me offering the key, and offer for your gracious acceptance the keys of your Majesty's good city of Edinburgh. And then the king says, right, should we do like a little to and fro here? What does the king say?
The king says, "I return these keys, being perfectly convinced that they cannot be placed in better hands than those of the Lord Provost and councillors in my good city of Edinburgh." This is some stuff right here, isn't it?
It's a very old tradition. It's so traditional within the Royal Week in Scotland, and it's the perfect way to start. You've seen this many a times with Queen Elizabeth II. This is the second time that the king has done this ceremony. Obviously, his first time was last year. And I just thought that this exchange is always quite interesting, isn't it? Because it's a symbolic handing over of a key, and then the king holds the key and says, "I return these to you." Like, I trust that you've got the management of the city or whatever. So it's quite an interesting thing. And then we saw the Order of the Thistle ceremony. So the Duke of Rothesay, which I think is what Prince William's title is in Scotland. So he isn't the Prince of Wales in Scotland. He's known as the Duke of Rothesay, the Queen and the King, and obviously the Duke of Edinburgh, who was given the Order of the Thistle today as part of his 60th birthday present from the king. Rach, I feel like I need to bestow you some kind of honor for your birthday, and vice versa for me. Like, we should just do something like that.
We always say, don't we should get a knighthood to his services to the monarchy.
Yes, put in the comments, royal community, if you believe we should get knighted. Love it. But we also saw the garden party as well, like you mentioned, Rach. And I mean, we're going to bring the fashion into it a little bit later, because I know the garden party is heavily mentioned in that. But what else have we got going on this week with the Royal Roundup?
So staying with Scotland, we had Queen Camilla hosting a literacy event where she met with authors and bookshop owners, as well as representatives from the Edinburgh International Book Festival, which has supported writers since 1983. And she also spoke to Scottish Book Trust, a charity that helps people with creativity, employment and mental health through reading. As we know, royal community, Queen Camilla loves to read herself. She's got her own podcast, she's got her Queen's Reading Room, or the Royal Reading Room as it's called now. If you love reading yourself, I do follow both these on my personal account, and also on our royal account over on Instagram. So it's always interesting to see what authors that she's going to have on, what the Queen's currently reading, and it's just great because this all started in lockdown, didn't it, for Queen Camilla? And it's just grown and grown. And now they have their own festival, which was a couple of months ago, the second year that it's been held. So I think this is just going to go from strength to strength, and long may it continue.
Yeah, and one thing I love about the Royals is they really do hone in on a passion that they have and run with it and see if there's ways in which they can help other people. And this is something that, like you said, Rach, has gone from strength to strength for Queen Camilla, and long may it continue, because we love seeing anything literary with Queen Camilla. Also, there was this picture, wasn't there, of her with the children, and there was loads of children around her this week as well. I think they were reading in a primary school. So yeah, lots going on. So let's head to the fashion moment of the week. Before we give you our opinions, write in the comments, what is your fashion moment of the week? Even if you're watching on replay, put in the comments right now. Okay, Rach, go ahead. What is yours?
Okay, so mine is at the garden party at Holyrood House, and it was Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. She was wearing that beautiful light blue Roland Mouret dress and that fabulous Jane Taylor hat. I just thought she looked so beautiful, so elegant. I'm really loving Sophie's outfit choices recently, especially when she has to attend a more formal occasion. I just think that look suits her very well. She knows how to pull off a hat. It's reminds me kind of sometimes of Eliza Doolittle.
I know we had like a Eliza Doolittle moment with Catherine in the carriage, didn't we, in Troop in the Colour?
Yeah, she just looks fabulous at the moment, Sophie does. And obviously, she was a big fashion moment last week when she attended the state banquet, when she was dripping in all of those diamonds. So for me at the moment, Sophie is the one to watch. And I think we may be talking about a certain Princess of Wales, hopefully next week or the week after, if and when she attends Wimbledon.
I'm sorry, Royal Community, if you heard a little clap there when Rachel said that. That was me clapping off camera, going, yay! I'm so excited. I can't wait. We got our fingers and toes crossed. I think because we've had a little taster of Troop in the Colour, we're expecting her at some point over the championship to show up. But let's hope she feels well enough. Well, I will give you my fashion moment of the week, and then I'll also let you know what I thought of Rachel's fashion moment of the week. I'm guessing you can think what it is. My fashion moment was still the Holyrood House garden party, but it was actually the king. I thought his suit, I thought his top hat and tails were absolutely impeccable. His tie badge, like the colour, really suited his complexion. He looked incredible. He looked kingly. And I know obviously he's a king, it makes sense, but he's really stepped up in his fashion game since becoming king. He's always had it. I will say that. He's always been on the cusp of great tailoring, but just look back and really admire the craftsmanship that's gone into his clothing, because it was really spectacular. So that he is my favorite. And I will say this, Royal Community, you're going to disagree with me, I'm sure, but I actually think your pick for Sophie this week was my weakest look of the week, Rach. She looked fabulous, but for me, it was very plain. It was very understated. It was royal and regal, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't fit for me. But then I also find a little bit of love-hate with Sophie's outfits. I either love them or I don't like them very much. So yeah, that's kind of just my 2 cents on it.
See, I disagree with you there, Shell, because I feel like because Sophie and Edward were there with the king and queen, if she went with something that was maybe a bit more brighter in colour, or she wear a pattern, not that she would outshine them, but it would take the focus more away from them. And actually, when you said about the style, I've always...
Sorry, that's my doorbell. Take no notice. I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to pretend I'm not here. Royal Community, this is live. We're doing things live here. We're going to ignore it. Carry on, Rach.
I just think the king, even when he was the Prince of Wales, just impeccable. Like, I've always loved his style, and we've actually done a few style episodes on our podcast. Listen back to those episodes, because we do actually chat about men's fashion, and the king does feature quite heavily in one of those episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so whomever is at the door right now is going to go away, and we're going to move on. So thank you so much for being here, Royal Community. As always, please feel free to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you're notified when we go live and also when we have new videos popping up on our feed. So make sure you're subscribed to us. Make sure as well in the replay you're getting involved with all the questions, because we will answer and, you know, respond to your questions as you go along. But what's coming up the next week for us, Rach? Because we think we may potentially have some Wimbledon stuff, right?
Yeah, so this week is the first week of Wimbledon. We would normally see Catherine definitely at the finals. So if she does just attend one or two finals, the women's and the men's, then it will be next week, and it will be obviously the back end of the week. So we probably won't speak about that until the week after. But generally at Wimbledon, we do see quite a few royals here and there. Beatrice and Edo attended quite a few times last year. We even had, didn't we, Gabriella Windsor, we had Prince and Princess Michael of Kent, we've had the Gloucesters there before. So it just depends. I think they sometimes get to pick and choose what days they'd like to go, and probably some days they're told if there are any free seats available, because when they aren't in attendance, the people that are sat in the royal box have actually been given those seats by another member of the family or through associations that they work with and charities they work with.
Yeah, so, absolutely. I mean, David Attenborough was there this week, wasn't he? The first day of Wimbledon. I was like, he's royalty to me. I'm like, David Attenborough, and next to David Beckham. I'm like, come on. So excited. Yeah. So let's go to some comments we've had. So we were chatting about whether you are going to be coming to Buckingham Palace. Petra said, my dream is to fly over and visit a lot of the palaces. My daughter-in-law is Irish and her parents brought me a tea towel from Holyrood Castle. Oh, that is amazing. I'd love to have a tea towel from Holyrood. We haven't been there yet, have we, Rach?
No, I've never been to Scotland, so I'd like to go one day.
Yeah, and April has given our support and said, yes, we should receive an honour. Because we were saying about the honours. I love it. I love it. Naomi's also said about, I was about to ask that, never seen a royal taking photos with their own phone. I was exactly the same, Naomi. Never, ever seen that before, ever. It was so strange, Rach. Just seeing, oh, obviously we know they've got phones, right? But it's just, they're in the wild, you know, doing normal things.
Yeah, it's just so funny when you do see them in those moments, because it is kind of unheard of. Like, we don't really see it. But I think over the last few years, we've seen the royals interact more with people as well. So, and we did actually see William on the train the other week when there was that beautiful photo of him and he had his phone on the side.
Yeah. You're like, what's your screensaver? I wonder what it is. I bet you his screensaver is something Earthshot related. It has to be.
I reckon it's Catherine and the kids.
Do you think? I'm trying to think now. Maybe it's one of their Christmas cards on the front.
Maybe.
Yeah. They've got a plethora of pictures to pick from, so they're all good. Don't you worry about that. And then I replied to April and said, thanks, April. Which honour, though? So maybe we can decide, Rach, which honour we should be choosing ourselves. Anna said poll time. I don't know what that means, Anna. Message us and let us know what that means. What does that mean? I don't know what it means. I'm going to wait for you to come back on that. So coming up over the next month, we will have lots of Wimbledon info, I'm sure. But Rach, let the royal community know what happens summertime with the royals.
So the royals go on their summer holidays. They have a break. So that is probably when we'll be taking our break as well. So as we said when we first started up on YouTube, that we would be doing this every single week, but we would also be taking regular breaks as well. So obviously we'll let you know when that time will be. We haven't decided ourselves yet, but we usually see the royals go off on their separate ways. They always end up at Balmoral together at some point, or Sandringham. So yeah, and we do actually have an episode on the podcast, what the royals do in the summer. I can't remember the exact name of it, but there is an actual episode. So if you want to know what the royals do, we've done like an in-depth podcast episode about that. So make sure that you go and listen to that.
So Anna said, poll time for the screen photo on the phone. Do you mean polo or poll? Am I not getting this? I don't get it, Rach.
I don't know.
You mean polo time, Anna? We're trying to get this now in real time. Anyway, we've got a general election coming up this week, so it's going to be interesting to see, isn't it? Like you said, with the constitutional responsibilities for the king, how that goes about. We'll cover that next week in our live. We're going to be 6:30 on Wednesday next week, Rach?
Probably depends how the trains run from London.
Yeah, if we're not on at 6:30, come and see us at 7. Oh, I see. Oh my gosh. April have just said, April said, poll us to see what we think the screensaver on William's phone is. Okay. Do you know what? I would, but I don't know how to do that on here. I will learn that for next time. Okay. I'm learning new things every week. So next week, come back, April and Anna, and we will do a poll, I hope. Let me see. I'm just going to try and press. No, I won't press buttons. I'll find out next week. Or just put it in the comments. Put it in the comments and we'll figure out. Anna's like, yes, April. Don't know what's going on. It's been a full day, Anna, here. It's so, what is it? 7:10 now, isn't it, Rach? Coming up to?
Yeah. So much for joining us on this live, and if you're watching on the replay, let us know your thoughts in the comments about any of the things that we've spoken about today. Make sure that you're following us over on Instagram, Keeping Up the Windsors Pod. We also have an email address, keepingupthewindsorspod@gmail.com, if you want to get in touch with us. And you can also become part of our VIP Royal community over on Ko-fi. That's Kofi. The link is in the notes. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'll pop it in the description. Absolutely fine. Yeah.
Do a monthly Zoom call with Shell and I, and a private Facebook group. So we'd love for you to join us there. Thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you next week on Keeping Up the Windsors.
See you next week. Oh, hang on a minute. Kirsten said, I guess he's had an Aston Villa. He has Aston Villa as his screensaver. I think that could win. That could win the bingo. All right, we'll see you next week, everyone. Bye.